All right, how's it going? We'll start. I covered this the other day, but they're saying that they started depositing, so we'll make another video for people that didn't see it the other day. We'll start off with the tweet here. This is from IRS News. IRS deposited the first economic impact payments into taxpayers' bank accounts today. We know many people are anxious to get their payments. We'll continue issuing them as fast as we can. For COVID relief IRS updates, see irs.gov/coronavirus, and it's just that. So we'll get into this. This is from what was this? 10 TV WBNS. The IRS is now depositing coronavirus stimulus checks. Here's what you need to know. And this was published on the 13th and was revised around 3:30 p.m. So by the time I get this up, it'd be just maybe half a day ago. The Internal Revenue Service announced over Easter weekend the first economic impact payments, also known as coronavirus stimulus checks, were already being deposited into some taxpayers' bank accounts. The $1,200 deposit was likely a surprise for those who received it a few days earlier than expected, but the IRS isn't done making those deposits and sending out checks. By Wednesday, April 15th, tens of millions of Americans should have received their checks. They're saying most of it's coming around the 15th. I will get into it, but I believe people that have like Social Security, disability will get theirs a little bit after. If you've done your taxes in the last 2 years, like online where you have like direct deposit, they'll just direct deposit it into your bank account. If not, you'll have to set up, they'll have a website, we'll get into it, where you can like set up actual direct deposit payment. And if you don't fall into any of that, then you will start getting paper checks in the mail, I believe, starting May, and they'll go by tax bracket, like 0 to 10,000, 10 to 20, and so on and so forth. And it should be like the last people getting paper checks will be at the end of August, early September, but that's if you haven't set up direct deposit and you fall within the income qualifications. Who is getting the money first? Who's getting the money first? The people getting theirs first are the ones who filed tax returns in 2018 or 2019 and received funds through direct deposit. People who didn't file taxes are very low income. People who didn't file taxes are very low income or older, or very low income, or are older and don't need to file will have to wait for the money. Any paper check should go out starting in early May. Also, we'll get into this later. It's saying it's like 75,000 for individuals. So they actually, because of this whole thing, they actually extended the tax deadline from April 15th until June 15th, I believe. So it gives you a couple more months. So if you don't fall in the tax brackets for the 2019 year, but you did for the 2018 year, and you haven't filed yet, you could possibly hold off until you get your check if you want to, and then file. Elias Gold, a senior economist with the Economic Policy Institute, said some might not see their money until mid-September. I heard there were people in Georgia getting theirs this weekend. There's going to have to be a way to collect the information, and that process could take a couple of months, Gold said. What if the IRS doesn't have my current bank info for direct deposit? The IRS is creating a web portal where users can check the status of their stimulus payment. It will launch this week. The site will also have a feature to enter your bank account information if the IRS doesn't already have it from a 2018 or 2019 refund. The IRS expects to launch this tool by Friday, April 17th. So if you haven't got your deposit by the 17th, you should be able to go to, let's see if this opens into this. Opens to the IRS. And you should be able to go to that on the 17th if you haven't received your direct deposit. Look up that, either set it up, or if you have like your direct deposit set up, just look, and I guess you would see when your expected payment is going to be. Check this page to view stimulus check tracker info and look for the Get My Payment button when it launches. So if you haven't got it by the 17th, that's why you look it up. I'll have the link to this article posted in the description, so you can just go down to that, click on that, and then click on this link here. What if I don't file taxes every year? The IRS launched this webpage to allow non-tax filers to provide the federal government with payment information. Look for the non-filers. Enter payment info here button. If you don't file taxes, use the non-filers. Enter your payment info here application to provide simple information so you can get your payment. You should use this application if you did not file a 2018 or 2019 federal income tax return because your gross income was under $12,200, $24,400 for married couples. So I didn't realize that. I thought it was $6,000 for some reason, but I guess it's $12,000. This includes people who had no income, or they're like, someone needs to like grammar check these articles, or you weren't required to file a 2018 or 2019 federal income tax return for other reasons. If you have something like, if you live completely off Social Security disability, VA disability, then all of that's kind of essentially tax-free. So you don't have to pay or file taxes when you do that. How much will you get? In short, people who make $75,000 or less will receive the full $1,200 check. That amount will phase out, capping at people making $99,000. Households will receive an additional $500 for children under 16 years old. Also, if you had a child the year of 2020, from January 1st until now, that doesn't get counted. It's only last year's tax return or the previous one. So if you haven't done this year's and you've had a child in 2019, it may be beneficial for you to actually go ahead and do it already if you haven't, to get the additional $500. So this is weird too. I guess it goes up to $75,000 if they have some left over. Up to 90, because I've seen 75,000. I also seen 99,000. So I guess it's kind of a gray area if you make in between that amount. But also, if you made 75,000 as, say, like a restaurant manager, and you're like completely out of work now, are you just screwed then? Because I know unemployment is around, I believe it's 16 or 17 million have filed in the last 3 weeks, which is more than the entire 18-month progression of the 15 million that filed for the 2008 recession. So in 2008, it took roughly 18 months for a total collective of 15 million people to file for unemployment. And because of the government intervention shutting down businesses, which I'm completely opposed to, we beat that in 3 weeks with like 16 or 17 million total across the U.S. And it's like at, I think, around 13 to 15% unemployment has risen drastically from like the 3 to 4% it was previous. More frequently asked questions and info from IRS.gov. Here's what you need to know about your economic impact payment. For most taxpayers, payments are automatic and no further action is required. This includes taxpayers who filed tax returns in 2018 and 2019, and most seniors and retirees. Who is eligible? U.S. residents will receive the economic impact payment of $1,200 for individual or head of household filers, and $2,400 for married filing jointly if they are not a dependent of another taxpayer and have a work-eligible Social Security number with adjusted gross incomes up to $75,000 for individuals, $112,500 for head of household filers, and $150,000 for married couples filing jointly for filing joint returns. Taxpayers will receive a reduced payment if their AGI is between $75,000 and $99,000 if their filing status was single or married filing separately, $112,500 and $136,500 for head of household, and $150,000 and $198,000 if their filing status was married filing jointly. See, it seems a little weird, like this kind of, It's for sure if you have it here, but if it's a little more, it's kind of a gray area, I guess. The way they have it described is kind of confusing. Okay, so it's saying it will be a reduced payment. So you'll get the full payment under this, and you'll get a partial payment between that. If you make more than that, you won't get any payment. The amount of reduced payment will be based upon the taxpayer's specific adjusted gross income. Eligible retirees and recipients of Social Security, railroad retirement, disability, or veterans benefits, as well as taxpayers who do not make enough money to normally have to file a tax return will receive payment. It's like at midnight I'm filming this. This also includes those who have no income, as well as those whose income comes entirely from certain benefits programs such as supplemental Social Security income benefits. Retirees who receive either Social Security retirement or railroad retirement benefits will also receive payments automatically. I never heard of railroad retirement until I was covering this the other day. Like, I've never heard of that, so I'm wondering if you're watching this, if you know anybody that actually has that or receives that. Who is not eligible? Although some filers, such as high-income filers, will not qualify for an economic impact payment, most will. Taxpayers likely won't qualify for an economic impact payment if any of the following apply. Your adjusted gross income is greater than $99,000. If your filing status was single or married, filing separately, $136,500 for head of household. $198,000 if your filing status was married, filing jointly. You can be claimed as a dependent on someone else's return. For example, this will include a child, student, or older dependent who can be claimed on a parent's return. You don't have to have a valid social. You do not have a valid Social Security number. You are a non-resident alien. You file Form 1040-NR or Form 1040-NR-EZ, Form 1040-PR, or Form 1040-SS for 2019. I'm not sure. Those are different tax forms. So if you know what they are, you know what they are. I don't know what they are. How much is it worth? Eligible individuals with adjusted gross income up to $75,000 for single filers, $112,500 for head of household filers, and $150,000 for married filing jointly are eligible for the full $1,200 for individuals and the $2,400 married filing jointly. In addition, they are eligible for an additional $500 per qualifying child. For filers with income above those amounts, if the payment amount is reduced by $5 for each 100 above the $75,000, $112,000, $150,000 thresholds. Single filers with income exceeding $99,000, $136,500 for head of household filers, and $198,000 for joint filers with no children are not eligible and will not receive payments. Do I need to take action? People who filed a tax return for 2019 or 2018, no additional action is needed by taxpayers who have already filed their tax returns this year for 2019. The IRS will use this information to calculate the payment amount. Haven't filed yet for 2019, but filed a 2018 federal tax return. For these taxpayers, the IRS will use the information from 2018 tax filings and make the economic impact payment calculation. Obviously, I filed 2018. I haven't filed 2019 yet. I usually wait till April just because I have to do all the, I do it myself, so I have to sit down and spend all day or a day or two to do all the income and expenses for my business or whatever. People who aren't typically required to file a tax return. Social Security and railroad retirement recipients who are not typically required to file a tax return need to take no action. The IRS will use the information on the Form SSA 1099 and Form RRB 1099 to generate economic impact payments of $1,200 for these individuals, even if they did not file tax returns in 2018 or 2019. Recipients will receive these payments as a direct deposit or by paper check, just as they would normally receive their benefits. Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI recipients are also part of this group who do not need to take action. Because I know with some people that have Did I just jump? I know with some people that have Social Security payments, they don't necessarily have their own bank account, but they have like a government issued kind of like payment card. From what I understand, like if you have that without the bank account, it still will get deposited on your card, kind of like a payment, additional payment, normal payment. For Social Security, rural retirees, and SSDI who have qualified children, they can take an additional step to receive the $500 per qualifying child. There are other individuals such as low-income workers and certain veterans and individuals with disabilities who aren't required to file a tax return, but they are still eligible for the economic impact payments. Taxpayers can check the IRS.gov tool. Do I need to file a tax return to see if they have a filing requirement? The IRS will soon provide guidance for those individuals on the steps to take to get their payment as soon as possible. So if you haven't done your taxes in the last year or two with direct deposit, and you don't get your payment or you don't get your check soon, I would say as soon as you can get onto that website I mentioned earlier and put in your information. They should get it out to you sooner instead of having to waiting several weeks or months for like a paper check. Payment recipients watch for an IRS letter. For security reasons, the IRS plans to mail a letter about the economic impact payment to the taxpayer's last known address within 15 days after the payment is paid. The letter will provide information on how the payment was made and how to report any failure to receive the payment. If a taxpayer is unsure they're receiving a legitimate letter, the IRS urges taxpayers to visit irs.gov first to protect against scam artists. Avoid scams related to economic payments COVID-19. The IRS urges taxpayers to be on the lookout for scam artists trying to use the economic impact payments as cover for schemes to steal personal information and money. Remember, the IRS will not call, text you, email you, or contact you on social media asking for personal or bank account information, even related to the economic impact payments. Also, watch out for emails with attachments or links claiming to have a specific information about economic impact payments or refunds. So if you get something that looks like that, unless it's that one specific letter, they said within 15 days after payment. Like if you get something that looks like it, don't click any hyperlinks in the email. If it says something and you think it may be possible, don't click on the link, and you yourself separately go to the IRS page itself, because people can like make it look, well, they don't have, well, the IRS people can make like websites and links and stuff look very similar to what it actually is. And if you put in information there, it'll scam you. So if you have people who are, I guess, elderly, or if they're not like so technologically savvy, make sure to tell them this, because that's who they're going to target for this type of stuff. But so this should be going up on the 14th of April. So possibly a lot of you should be getting payments tomorrow. If you don't get it by the 17th, go to the IRS page and put into your, well, it said it won't be set up until the actual 17th, but go there and set it in yourself. So yeah, this is just kind of the recap of what's going on with this. So if you like this, you can give it a like. If you really like, you can subscribe on YouTube, or you can follow my page on Facebook. I'm now putting videos on both of those instead of trying to, this is a little off subject, but if you put it on YouTube and try to put the link to Facebook doesn't like linking out away from the website, so they'll like discourage and hide those links and stuff. So I'm just trying to get information out, trying to do a video daily if I can on this page. So I'm just putting the video straight into Facebook, and it seems to be, with the internal video, especially Facebook promoting video more now the last year or so, it seems to be doing fairly decent. So subscribe on YouTube, follow my page on Facebook, and I'll try to get other stuff set up possibly. But yeah, all right, tell me what you think below. You think it's enough? I think I was starting to say, like, people that aren't out of a job are still getting, but it's supposed to be a stimulus check to help everybody put it into the economy to try to help boost it. I understand that aspect, but people that were like forced out of jobs, furloughs, layoffs and stuff, I understand they're on or they're filing for like unemployment benefits, but there's like I said, there's like 16 or 17 million. I think just in Ohio alone, there's like 700,000, I believe, like just under 700,000 last 3 weeks. So all of that's getting crushed. Everything is getting pushed back. It's just a crappy situation through and through. I think social distancing should be a suggestion and not like a government order, stay home mandate stuff. Like, I'm still going to work every day. My schedule essentially hasn't changed, but I don't really go out to like restaurants or bars or anything. I just kind of go to work and grocery stores and come back home and like work here as well. So, all right, let me know what you think. All right, peace.